Well, awesome. Well, this is a great time to segue into what we do here at Fathom, which is complementary to all the QBO reporting, but it's coming at it from a different angle. So QBO, is presenting all of those, what I like to think of as kind of statutory reporting and reports that are very specific to individual clients. And Fathom is really about the advisory experience for your clients. So at the core, what we do is really around business intelligence, and our software actually came out of a firm experience. So one of our founders is a CPA. He basically was working for a large firm in Brisbane, Australia, and they were trying to create a lot of customized reports and custom dashboards for clients, doing all the work in Excel, and just realized it was really time consuming. It wasn't, a tangible thing that they could really get clients invested in or make a lot of revenue off of. Instead, he tried to think through, what would be a better way to deliver, this really critical business information to clients, and recruited the help of our two other co-founders who are both developers, and from there they built Fathom to really help clients answer those key business questions. Now, in terms of the ways we do that, I am going to focus heavily on reporting today, but I just want to make sure you get kind of a background for the flavor, the approach that we take at Fathom to working with data. And one of the big things that we do that's very different than QBO is we really go deep into key performance indicators. And these are essentially metrics that can be around things like, profitability or cash flow or growth, any sort of area of the business that your clients really need to focus on more adeptly or understand the financial concepts around. That's something that we do very strongly at Fathom. And the nice thing about our software is these KPIs, they're not things that you're building from scratch. We've got over 50 pre-built in the software that you're literally clicking a button to select to use them for the client. But then we also have the ability to actually bring in non-financial data as well. So if it's important to be able to understand things like marketing performance side by side, with cash flow or profitability, that's things that we can do. We can track things like, what is our lead conversion, or how many hits are coming into our website on a monthly basis, and really be able to tell a fuller story for the client. And then in addition to that, the cool thing about working with non-financial data is we have the ability to create custom metrics. So we see people do things like, okay, since we are now, maybe tracking the number of employees inside of Fathom, how do we understand the average revenue per employee? And because we're working with financial and non-financial variables, we can create some really custom KPIs that are targeting the specific instances or questions that clients might have. Now, the thing that we're known for, the thing that people always talk about with Fathom, and Woody kind of hinted at this, is that we're a really visual tool. We're known for beautiful reports and dashboards, and the reason why this really matters is because your clients are visual learners. And the reports from QBO, like I said, are really great from fulfilling those statutory obligations to clients. But when it comes down to sitting down and presenting data to clients, having that in a visual format that you can share out via something like this, like a GoToWebinar or a GoToMeeting, is a bit more impactful. And we found that it really helps get clients engaged with their financials to have visualizations, charts, graphs, and unique tools to walk through that information. So that's really the approach that we're taking. The nice thing is we are directly integrated to QBO, so we're automatically always syncing the data, all the work you're doing in that file, but then we're just giving it to you in a much more visual and interactive presentation. Other quick things that I just want to make sure you know about Fathom is that we do offer the ability to benchmark your clients against one another. This is really powerful for our larger firms, especially because so many of you are starting to really go vertical and have client bases that are focused, in specific industries. And so because of that, it can be very powerful to benchmark, those vertical industries side by side. We also see firms do things like, here's all of our clients that are under a certain revenue marker or over a revenue marker, or clients that are startups versus more established businesses. But the cool thing about our benchmarking capabilities is it's fully customized, and it allows firms to basically take their client data and leverage that as a really powerful tool to help clients understand their performance. And then additionally, another important thing to know about Fathom is because it is a firm-wide tool and you're able to work with all your clients in one place, we also have the ability to do consolidated reporting. So this is really helpful for clients that are running multiple QBO files, or maybe they're even running QBO and QBD. This actually says that we can do large groups of up to 200. I actually know of a consolidation or a system that has 800 company files that are being consolidated together. And of course, running a consolidation allows you to have all of Fathom's tools in a consolidated presentation, but it also allows us to create things that you desperately need, like a consolidated financial statement. And this is really powerful, again, for franchise operations or clients that have any sort of multiple entities. It works with multiple currencies as well. So for example, at Fathom, we've got an entity in the UK and in AU and in the US, and we can consolidate all that data together really easily. Last but not least, there is an element of alert monitoring. This is something we designed specifically for firms. So because it's a dashboard where you're going to monitor all of your advisory clients in one place, you can set different alerts within Fathom in order to be notified when clients have kind of missed the mark on some of their performance. And this is a great tool that firms use post-reconciliation. So they come into the software once the reconciliation has been complete, and then from there they're able to go into this alerts dashboard, check on client status, and then from there know which client is highest priority for any sort of outreach. And just from a management perspective, it gives you a really easy way to understand which clients are on and off track based on the latest data. So that is general background on Fathom. What I really wanted to focus my time on today is on our newest reporting element. And we're calling this Reporting 2.0 for the purpose of this presentation today because it doesn't have an official feature title yet. We are very close to launching it, though. It's actually been in development for over a year and a half. And essentially this functionality came out of the fact that Fathom did offer reporting to begin with, but it was a little bit canned in nature. It was just standard reporting templates that we would allow you to download at the click of a button. But there was not a lot of the customization elements behind the scenes. You could do some basic things like adding a logo and a footer and a preparatory page, but in terms of being able to really pick and play with all of the individual elements within a report, that wasn't quite there in terms of the functionality. And so we spent a lot of time, our core client base is accountants and advisors, so we spent a lot of time reaching out to those firms and saying, what are you looking for out of like a next generation reporting solution? And we took all that feedback to heart and then have been developing for over a year and a half now this new reporting element that I'm going to show to you today. So I'm going to go ahead and just change up my screen real quick and pull in my companies. And let me just make sure that's full screen. And Woody, hopefully you're seeing this report center here in Fathom. Does that look correct?
Yes, totally.
Okay, awesome. And the one thing I have to say is that the environment you're seeing today, this is actually our UK beta, which our US beta is due to go live next week. So you might notice some of the verbiage is a little bit British, and some of the reports I'll build today have pounds instead of dollars. But hopefully you can forgive me for that and kind of get a feel for it. Now, one thing I wanted to show is just existing Fathom really quick. So this is my Fathom dashboard. It's one of my demo environments. And as I mentioned, Fathom is an environment where you see all of your clients in one place. So I've got 86 clients I'm serving from this one platform. And again, one element of the platform is this analysis side. So this is where we've got different tools where we're breaking apart data. They're all very interactive and visually engaging to look at. So this might be something that a firm uses in presentation mode with the client. And then, like I said, in the past, our reports have been sets of templates that you can configure a little bit and then download. But what's coming to Fathom now is this report center. So you can see, again, I'm under this reports tab, but now I'm living in the new report center. And from a workflow perspective, this is really designed to give your firm a full-fledged reporting workflow. Now, if I'm coming in as a client, I'm just going to see reports, and I'm going to see a list of the reports that have been delivered to me by my firm. So, maybe I would see January through, May or something like that, all the reports for this year. But this is from a firm-facing perspective. So here I am as an advisor coming into this account. And what I want to really show you today is coming in and building a custom report. Now we will still give predefined reports, kind of canned reports in the platform, and those are nice because maybe you don't want to build something entirely from scratch. You can modify a predefined report if you want, but custom reports is where you're going to come in and create templates that you can then start using across your practice, across your client base, and they're really quite flexible. So I'm going to just call this our QBO demo for example's sake today. In terms of designing the data, I'm defaulting things to monthly, so when I pull things in monthly, that's what I'm going to do. But the cool thing about these reports is every single element is fully editable. So each tool or each visual can be monthly, quarterly. I can select custom date ranges for it. And if I click to create a template, it's going to take just one quick second to load. And it's going to default with my Fathom logo here, but I can really edit this header. So say, for example, I want to, put QBO green as the background. I can come in and I can do that, or I can even do an image fill. We've seen firms want to maybe upload like a custom banner image that reflects their firm while also giving a logo, maybe it's a client's logo. Or you could, do an inverse. Maybe the logo is the firm logo and the banner image is related to the client. We can, do some modifications on the alignment here. So just really being able to tailor things from a presentation perspective right off the bat. Now, in terms of the report itself, this is all a create your own adventure. It's a do-it-yourself experience. And the cool thing about this is it's so customizable. So, for example, if I'm prepping and I want to put in, a table of contents or some sort of agenda for a client meeting, maybe that's when we're going to go over this report, I can just start typing here and, pick and choose the items that we're going to cover. So I'll just pick a few different, let me make sure I'm spelling right here, but I'm going to just type in a few things that I want to focus on today in this report with my client, and then I'll show you guys how we pull in and work with these. So that was just an example of me using the text elements. And actually, let me just go back a second to make sure you understand this next component. So now I'm wanting to add a new element to my report, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my plus sign, and I'm going to come in here to my charts. And since I said the first thing I was going to add was cash flow elements, I'm going to come into my category for cash flow. And you can see I've got a ton of different ways I can represent cash flow here. But I'm going to insert this cash flow waterfall chart. This is a very popular chart. It takes about a second to load, but it's our most popular element of our software. It's very straightforward, I think, from a visual perspective, and the nice thing about it is clients can't really hide from the accountability. If this client was complaining to me about how much money they had in the bank, I could talk to them immediately about their cost of sales or their expenses. But that's a great visual to talk about cash flow with a client. I might want to highlight some other things, like maybe I want to include a cash flow trend as well, so I can pull that in as an element. And each of these charts is fully editable. So, if I don't like the colors that are in this, maybe I'm more of a fan of blue, and I like the green, but maybe not so much this pink. All of these elements I've got, full customization over. If the name of this chart, cash flow trend, doesn't resonate well with the client, I can call it something else. Right now, this is a monthly chart, but I can change it to quarterly or an annual presentation, and the date range can be the current financial year, or I can actually set a custom range as well. So I'm going to just apply changes to include that element. I think the next thing I said I was going to talk about was profitability. So again, I'm back here in my charts presentation. I want to go into profitability, and I'm gonna maybe I'll pull in a classic profitability trend. So I've got that, and I can, again, of course, edit it fully. But maybe in addition to that, since I'm talking with my client about profitability, I want to bring in some elements like a P&L. So I'll go into my tables and financials, select that I want to bring in this profit and loss, and right now it just starts out a little bit generic, so I'm gonna hit to edit. And right now it's just showing this month, but I want to add some columns. So from my variables selector, I want to add in that I want last month as well. Maybe I want to add in some budget data, so I want to add in this month's budget. Just drag and drop that so that it's going to sit next to this month's budget, then I'll have last month's performance. Maybe I even want to bring in some variance information, so this month versus last month's variance. So I'm just customizing. I can have up to 6 different columns here. I can highlight certain things. So if there's, I really want the client to focus on that budget, I can pick a color to highlight it so they're really paying attention. And then from a rows perspective, right now this is a detailed level P&L, but maybe I want it at a summary basis just to kind of condense things down. I can hide accounts with nil balances if I want. I can even just show a snippet. So if I just want to focus on a very specific segment like, expenses, that's something that I can offer up as well. So lots of customizations of how we can bring in and pull in little bits of the P&L and the balance sheet data. That just gives you kind of a flavor for how we could add that information into a report. Let's just go up here to my agenda again. Oh, next thing I wanted to highlight was key metrics. So one of the things that we got a lot of feedback from firms about was that clients are a little bit distractible, and it's really important to be able to highlight key numbers for them. So we developed this functionality called key numbers, and a key number is essentially any number that you're just wanting to highlight for the client. And we have this variable selector, so this can be any KPI we're tracking in Fathom, whether it's financial, non-financial, customized or not, or it can be anything from the P&L, balance sheet, the chart of accounts, etc. And if I just want to highlight, for example, this month's sales, I can select that figure. I can also add a comparative here. I can choose to add a spark line, and I can, again, color coordinate it, and I can show a description. So if I click show a description, it's automatically going to give me Fathom's description, but this has free-form text here, so I can talk about, this month's sales, and then I'm going to type an @ symbol, and that can allow me to tag data, or I can, again, continue to type things about the performance, but I'm going to just go ahead and apply these changes here. And then, maybe I want to add additional commentary, so maybe I add, I'm going to just add a few more key numbers real quick just to give you a feel for the layout of if I put a few of them side by side. So we'll add revenue as well. And then say I've got my key numbers here and I want to add some feedback. So I want to add some custom text commentary, and I want to say, in terms of reviewing this month's sales, I'm going to show again that @ symbol. This allows me to tag anything in my text. So if I want to talk about sales performance, I'm going to find sales and this month. And now, since this number is highlighted, this is considered a placeholder. So right now I'm running on January 2016 data, so that's the figure that's appearing. But if I was to run this in August, it's going to show the August results. So this is really great because it allows you to give this level of in-depth commentary without having to come in every single month and update the latest figure. And we can do it for prior period sales as well. So, as compared to last month's, again, I'm going to just type my @ symbol, and I can tag anything. It can be custom. It can be, it can be something that I built inside of Fathom, or it can be, something a bit more generic.
Hey, Maddy, I did have a question.
Yeah.
Because I know Fathom can pull from multiple sources. So can you, in one report, could you have link to an Excel file and QBO?
So depends on whether or not, are you thinking like a consolidated report, or are you thinking more like an Excel file that's got non-financial data?
No, like you have someone, they might have three entities. One's on desktop, one's on QBO, and then they have a bunch of data in Excel, and they want to run one P&L pulling from, different sources like Excel.
Yep.
To combine with the data. Yeah.
Yep, that would all pull into this reporting module. Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Great question.
Thanks.
Another element that I wanted to show, in addition to that free-form commentary, is this observation element. And I think, this is something that, I think is quite slick, quite frankly. And the thing about it is that what we realized is that what clients really want, in addition to reports, is they want your feedback as a firm. And so this element is all about giving client feedback, but in a way that it is very automated, and you're not having to come in. Again, same with these placeholder texts, you're not having to update every month. So an observation, again, can be around, this one's around profitability, but you can title it whatever you want. You can pick, again, from our variable selector, what metric you're looking at. And then from there, basically the thought process on an observation is that this is feedback you're giving to the client based off of the performance. And so this one is about profitability, and essentially it's saying if the profitability ratio for this month is greater than last month's, then we're going to give the client a thumbs up or a checkbox, and we're going to leave this, this kind of feedback for them. And again, all free-form text, you can change this to what you want. I had a firm ask if they could leave, kind of more layman's terms here, and that's absolutely a possibility. And in addition to that, you're telling Fathom that, okay, if the profitability ratio for this month is not greater than last month, so else, we're going to give the clients a thumb down or an X or maybe, a little warning symbol, and we're going to leave this commentary instead. And we can hide the observation under certain conditions as well. But the cool thing about adding these observations is this allows you to every single month deliver, what feels like hands-on advisory without having to come in and manually type in this kind of observation information.
And along the same lines as a question, can you input data where data already exists, like increased sales by X and profit goes up by X?
Yep, absolutely.
Verbatim.
Yeah.
Is there any chance you can show that, or where you would do that?
So, there's kind of different ways that you could do it. One could just be with the free-form text element, and then doing placeholders would probably be my recommendation. So, if you increase sales by, and then I would probably go in and with my @ symbol find whatever the growth variable is that I want the client to be increasing by. So that's going to tag it. And then I could, tie that to, I would say, profitability increases by, and then do that kind of if-then statement. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah, totally. That's great.
Awesome. So I think, that kind of gives you guys the gist of some of the elements that are coming into play here. We've got other fun things. So, appendixes of the KPIs, those can be added. So if you're talking about a metric and you need an explainer, that's available. The charts, we get really robust here visually. We basically wanted to solve for every single person who said, but I want it as a pie chart, I want it as a bar chart, etc. Those are all going to be able to come in and have a really nice visual presentation. And, you can add different segments of data, so they're really, really customizable, which is really cool. In addition to that, we're going to give some layouts as well. So if you're, again, maybe not comfortable designing from the ground up, we're going to give some layouts that are kind of suggestions here of ways you might want to put a page together in a reporting perspective. In addition to that, we're going to be able to do custom charts around KPIs. So if you want to do a specific, set a table of data that looks at KPIs, that's available to you. And same with our charts. This is not available in this beta environment, but all of these charts we are going to have an element of being able to do, again, with non-financial data. You can custom build bar charts, things like that, and just add them all to the reporting. Now, the last thing I want to show now that I've kind of built this report is I'm going to just go back to my report's homepage, back to where my custom templates live. And you can see I kind of had a laundry list. I was at Scaling New Heights last week, so I was building a lot of things here. But if I go to more under that template that I just built, I have an option here to duplicate. So say I built this report and I really like it, but I just want to change 2 or 3 things, I can duplicate it and change that. I can also schedule this report. So just like QBO, we're wanting you to deliver these to clients automatically. And we've got some workflow we've thought through here. So we know that, it's possible with our larger firms that, maybe somebody who is not necessarily the advisor at the firm, maybe it's somebody a little bit lower on the totem pole, might be responsible for creating reporting, and that you might want that to run as a draft. That will go into, let me hit cancel here, that'll go into a draft folder here, and then from there you can review those reports prior to choosing to send them to the client. So that can be nice to just automatically have those delivered to the draft folder, and then from a workflow perspective, okay, on the 5th of the month, it's so-and-so's job to come in here and review the drafts, review the reporting prior to sending. Or, maybe you're completely confident, maybe you're a one-man or one-woman shop and you know that these reports are ready. You can schedule those reports to publish. They can publish monthly, quarterly, or annual. That's everything Fathom does is monthly, quarterly, or annual because we are that advisory, level of reporting. And so pick, the kind of frequency you want to deliver, the day on the month that you want to deliver, who gets notified via email, and then create that schedule to send. And then we have a tab here where you can manage all those scheduling elements as well. So that is all I can show you in the live environment. The last thing I wanted to touch on real quick, and let me just play for my current slide here, is this other element that I can't really show because I don't have it connected to a client to show this workflow. But we also were thinking about what is a way that you guys can be interacting and engaging with your clients around this reporting. And feedback we got from firms a lot was, yeah, we deliver reports, but then there's like this whole email thread that happens in my inbox that lives separately from the report, and I got to keep track of those two different things. So this is an example of a mock-up of, a couple key numbers and maybe some charts and information. And you can see in the top right-hand corners here, there's some little speech bubbles, and this is a conversational element. So each individual icon, each chart, each comment table element within the report has the ability to have a commentary functionality along the side. So this is a lot like a Google Doc, essentially. So the ability to discuss back and forth performance or offer a little bit more insight or feedback, or for the client to ask questions directly on the report rather than being an element that lives outside in the inbox or somewhere else that you have to keep track of. It allows you to just have all of that information in one place once it's been delivered. Other thing to mention,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's my favorite functionality, to be honest, because I think it just takes that advisory element to the next level. And then, we're making sure these are all hybrid print and digital, so they're going to look really great on a mobile device, whether that's an iPad. Obviously desktop is a great way to view them as well. And we prefer to see them in a browser experience or in a mobile environment because they look like this beautiful landing page. But if you do need a client that still needs the PDF, these are all downloadable as well. So, takeaways, I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory, and I'm really curious to hear, if there were any leftover questions. But obviously,
totally.
This is going to be syncing with QBO. So that's really powerful, that all of that data is going to flow over automatically. It's really, we thought a lot through about what is the workflow that allows a firm to scale in-depth advisory reporting across a whole firm and really keep track of those client engagements and give them something that is different than QBO, that is visual, that is in-depth and coming at it from this very specific advisory angle, and then allows you to really create templates for every client vertical. So I see firms wanting to create, okay, we've got 5 major industries, we're going to create those 5 major industry templates, and then we're going to replicate those across all the clients that we're serving so that we're not having to create these every single time. It's just a different template per vertical.
Sorry, go ahead, Maddy. Because I do have, there's just some Fathom-related questions, about 4 of them, but if you want to finish, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, yeah.
I know we got about 4 minutes left, so let me know.
I'll just cruise through this real quickly. The other main element here is just, the customization of financial statements and custom periods. That was a big thing that we kind of, I don't want to say got ragged on, but people wanted more from our financial statements. They wanted to be able to really tailor them. I know that all the firms need their financial statements to look the way they want, so we wanted to give you guys elements of that. Obviously, this interactive and observation and automated commentary elements are really exciting from a firm perspective because that allows you to be delivering in-depth advisory to even the most basic of clients without a whole lot of heavy lifting. And really, we think this is kind of the next level of reporting for QBO. So that's all I've got, Woody. Feel free to hammer away at questions here.
No, and that's awesome. And Madeline, thanks for that demo of Fathom. The advisor program and pricing per file, can you kind of just give an overview of that? Okay.
Yeah, so it's really, I mean, it's really straightforward. We don't hide any of our pricing. You can go on our website and go under the pricing tab. The way that we charge is on a per file basis. It's a wholesale model, so it's designed specifically for firms. Our platform, firms are our main client base, and so essentially the thought process is the more clients you add, the cheaper the cost per client. And what we're billing off of is the number of connected companies. So if you connect 5 clients to Fathom, that'd be like 5 QBO files, you're on a 5-company plan. If you connect 20, you're on a 20-company plan. And we scale, but firms that are, for example, we've got a 50-company plan, and firms that are serving 50 clients with Fathom are paying us $500 a month, so $10 per company file. So the more you add, the cheaper the cost per client.
Oh, cool. And is the support free? And like if someone needs to help build a particular chart or report, do you guys help with that?
That's a great question. So we that kind of tees up this slide really nicely. So these are 2 of the main guys who work for me here in the States. We've got a team in the AU as well. So from a support perspective, the nice thing about that is we are running really close to 24-hour support, and we don't charge anything extra for support. It's a lot of it is done via email or directly in app, which is really nice because that way we can see where you're at in the software and offer up insights and things like that. So support is totally available. We're starting to look into some implementation offerings now because we realize that firms are going to come to us and say, hey, I want this report. Can you build it for me? And so looking towards kind of the end of the summer, we're going to be offering implementation services for the firms who just want to hand off and say, build these 5 reports for us. We will start offering that services towards the end of the summer. Depending on the scale of your firm, though, you may be qualified to work with James, who's here on my screen. So he is an enterprise account manager. He works with a lot of our top 100 firms and offers kind of that next level of support and assistance. And then Alex also works on my team. He does a lot of the sales, the demo training. Sometimes he's leading, one-on-one session trainings for firms as well. That's all stuff that we do free of charge.
No, that's awesome. Is there a certification program yet for Fathom? I thought I remember you guys were working on one.
There's rumblings, yeah. So we're working on one right now. It's actually so we're testing it out with Intuit Canada. Actually, we were asked to participate in this interesting program they're launching this summer. So we're kind of testing out a certification this July with Intuit Canada, and then once that program completes, we're hoping to roll that into a more global certification. So hopefully by the end of 2017, we'll have the ability for everybody to get their little Fathom certified widget. But yeah, it's definitely on the radar and coming soon.
And phone support, I missed it. Is there, or is it just kind of through chat and then they call, or?
There is phone support. To be honest, though, with an application like Fathom, you're better suited to be interacting with us via the app itself. And let me just show you that, just because I think it makes more sense if you see it. Here, one sec. Let me just go back to my other. So the way that we do, and I really like this functionality, it's through a tool called Intercom, and this is starting a conversation with the Fathom team. So here's a few fellows who work for me. You can send a message right here. The thing that's nice about this is this team is checking these throughout the day. And in addition to that, it's going to archive things. So if you forgot how you did something in the past, rather than ringing us up, you're going to have a message saying, oh yeah, that's how Ethan or Alex told me how to do that in the past. The other thing that I like about this element for in-product support is that it allows us to actually understand where you're at in the application. A lot of times in product support, if we're over the phone, it's just really cumbersome because you're trying to explain over the phone what you're doing on the computer. So we like to be on the computer with you instead. It's kind of our preferred methodology.
Okay, cool. And then I think Fathom connects to desktop as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we connect to both. It's pretty straightforward. If you add a company file and click the QB icon, you're going to have both options here. Desktop is different from online because it doesn't have a real-time sync. It's not in the cloud, so we can't have that capability. But what you do is you click to launch this desktop connector. It downloads a little widget, an icon to your desktop. And then you can actually just drag and drop .qbws into that to push it into Fathom Online. The cool thing about this tool too is from a workflow perspective, it actually can run up to 50 file updates at once. So our larger firms, basically at the end of a month, once they're done with reconciliations, they're dragging and dropping up to 50 files into the tool to update into Fathom. And then we also can have this in a server environment. It's going to vary a little bit from server to server, firm to firm, but some of our, our larger firms are using partners like Rate Networks, and we're authorized in their environment, so you can add that and then bring your Rate Networks desktop files into Fathom as well.
No, that's awesome. Well, thanks for that, Maddy, and it's 3 minutes post, so I'll stop the recording at this point,